A marketing plan will help you identify how you can invest your marketing budget in the right channels with the right messaging. So a plan will help you to be efficient with your spend and effective with your output. We don't want to waste valuable marketing dollars saying the wrong things to the wrong people. And a plan will make sure that you don't do that. Hi, I'm Jane Hillsdon, marketing consultant and founder of Dragonfly Marketing and author of How to Do Marketing, a comprehensive guide for small businesses. Welcome to the very first episode of the How to Do Marketing show. Now, usually the How to Do Marketing show will involve me interviewing an expert who works in the very vast field of marketing. But before we start talking about any of the sexier topics of marketing, IGTV, Facebook ads, email marketing, websites, etc., I thought it was really important to touch on the topic of planning and strategy because as a marketing consultant, in my opinion, that is the sexiest element of the lot. Personally, I don't touch any marketing tactics or promotional activity until I have a marketing strategy in place. Put simply, a marketing plan can help save you money and it can help make you money. It provides you with a roadmap for success. Now, because it would be super weird if I interviewed myself, I've recruited the fabulous Stacey Morgan, my co-host of the Miss Bossy Boots podcast, to interview me instead. Stacey is also a small business owner. She runs a dance school on the Mid-North Coast, among many other things, and is always keen to know about how she can best use marketing to help her business grow. So without further ado.
Hi, Jane. It's a pleasure to talk to you about all things marketing. Tell us, why is it important that a small business has a marketing plan?
Look, there's a couple of really compelling reasons for businesses to have a marketing plan, Stace. Actually, there's three. Okay, first of all, if we don't know where we are going, how will we know when we get there? Having a plan in place can actually direct all of our activity, but it also means that if we know exactly what we're trying to achieve, monthly, annually, we're actually able to measure when and whether we get there. Number two, throwing money at marketing tactics such as Facebook, print advertising, radio advertising, without understanding if A, that's adding value to your business, or B, if it's actually adding value to your customer, can just waste you a whole lot of time and money. Reason number three, understanding why and how we choose certain marketing tactics or promotions and how to measure the success of those tactics can provide you with more confidence and peace of mind when it actually comes to investing in your marketing.
So the idea of a marketing plan, often scares some people, but there are so many different types. Tell us what some of the different types of marketing plans are.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I've seen so many definitions of marketing plans over my 20 years working in marketing. But essentially, I kind of categorize marketing plans into two different types. There's a strategic marketing plan and then there's a tactical marketing plan. I often see the tactical marketing plan being used by many businesses, not just small, but by many businesses. But the difference between the two is a strategic marketing plan outlines your strategic considerations. So it looks at your business and marketing objectives. It has a really big deep dive into exactly who your customers are and how your business differs from other businesses in your industry. It outlines things like your 4 Ps, your product, your price, your place, promotion. It looks at your positioning and those sorts of things. A tactical marketing plan or a promotional marketing plan is essentially just restricted to that 4th P of promotion. And it generally just outlines which marketing tactics you're going to use, at what point, to ensure that you achieve the objectives outlined in your strategic marketing plan. Often I see that a lot of people have a tactical marketing plan. It's generally in like an Excel spreadsheet and it says, in this month we're going to do Facebook, print, radio, blah. In this month we're going to do, LinkedIn, Facebook, radio, TV or whatever. they're tactical marketing plans, and sometimes they're not actually plugged into a strategic marketing plan. I think you need both.
Yeah, and sometimes it can be that you just want to get to the tactical stuff. Like, just tell me where I'm spending the money. But the strategic planning is so important.
Yeah.
Talk to us about some of those marketing tactics, because there are so many different avenues you can go down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so like the tactics are typically what most people kind of perceive as marketing. It's the promotion stuff. So it's things like when you post or when you advertise on Facebook or Instagram, when you actually place a print ad in your local magazine or your paper or an industry magazine. It's placing radio ads. It's making your website more visible on Google by using something like search engine optimization or Google advertising. So it'll include your communications, so email, media communications, etc., as well as things like your marketing videos, how you use your website within your marketing ecosystems as well. So they're all the tactics, and they're, that's actually where the rubber hits the road. They're a really important part, but tactics without that strategy and then without the measurement don't seem to work as well as with the strategy and measurement.
So thinking about that strategy, what is the key information that small businesses really need to include in that strategic marketing plan? Where do we start?
Yeah, good question. Because marketing plans can be pages and pages long, or they can just be really simplified with the key information that you need to know. I typically, depending on the size of the business and the nature of what they're trying to do, I typically try and keep them as simple as possible. So where you start is fundamentally looking at your business objectives. So what is it that you're trying to do with your business? So this might mean, do you have plans to become a market leader in your geographical area? Are you planning to scale your business for growth? Are you trying to decrease customer attrition? Are you transitioning from offline to online? We need to understand this overarching objective so that we can ensure that we plan for your marketing to help you get there. So if we don't know what we are trying to achieve, as I said before, how on earth are we going to measure your marketing success and whether all those beautiful tactics that we put in place are actually working? So, there's a lot of business owners that might have seen digital metrics, or they might be working with some tactical providers where they're looking at reports that give them numbers around reach and engagement and clicks to website, etc., etc. And all of that looks fabulous on reports, but none of those numbers mean anything if we're not actually driving those and plugging those into the value of your business bottom line. And the value on your business bottom line is fundamentally driven by what your business is trying to do. What's the big issue? Okay, point number 2, and this is often a very neglected area of strategic planning as well, but it's where I completely geek out. In fact, as a marketer and as a small business marketer, I almost would call myself the customer ambassador. So point number 2 is actually looking at your customer. Now, I actually recommend that every business owner should know as much about their customer as they do their own children. So when we can truly empathize with our customer, we can start making decisions on behalf of them, and they're accurate decisions. So too many small businesses assume what their customers need. They think, oh, they should need this or they should want that. And they're assuming that because as a business, they sell it. So the reality is, just because you actually sell something doesn't actually mean that someone should buy it from you. And the other thing to I guess think about with the customers is that they're often buying more than just a product or service. So they're buying more than, say, a term of dance lessons. They're buying more than a marketing plan. They're actually buying an emotional state. So they could be buying acceptance or admiration or convenience or perceived happiness. And obviously this is subconscious to them. But as marketers, it's our job to kind of dig deep into why people buy what they buy. It's generally more than just, okay, I feel like buying this product. It's to move them from an emotional state of A to B. And if we know that, if we understand our customers enough, then we can ensure that we position our marketing to really appeal to that.
That's so important, and something that you don't think about as a small business owner.
No.
Exactly how they're feeling and what they want, but gosh, it could make a big difference.
Yeah, and look, it's really natural as a business owner to be. Your business is like your child, and you're so entrenched with it, and you know so much about it, and you've got the business's best interest at heart. So it's completely understandable that your thinking is driven by what's good for your business. So that's why it's good to go, hang on a second. I know that making this, this many sales or selling this product because it's profitable or whatever is good for my business, but it's actually taking that hat off and going, okay, what would actually be good for customers? Because as soon as we think about what's good for customers, we're already appealing to them. So the third consideration for your marketing plan is just having a look at your product or the services that you sell. So this is your 4 Ps we're about to tackle here. What are you selling? What's the tangible exchange? So, if you're a physio, you might sell your time to a consultant, to consult a patient about a sore knee. If you're a retailer, you're probably likely to have, multiple products and brands that you sell that all fall under a particular category, such as fashion or body piercings or whatever. Now, if we have properly defined the business objectives and had a good, hard get to know of the customer, we can actually start reviewing these products and services in a new light. So, for example, if we've identified that our business objective is to increase profit, then we really need to look at our product and service range and understand if the products and services are being delivered profitably. Are there some products or services that we sell that are more profitable than others? Because then we actually need to layer our marketing plan on top of these. So it kind of makes sense to push the more profitable products. Plus the difference in cost of marketing to get new customers or clients versus marketing to get more out of existing clients is significant. So that's where we kind of really have to start looking at, well, what is it that we're actually selling, and start to overlay that with what's our business trying to do and who is our customer. We also need to look at price. So when we look at your pricing, we assess it from a few different angles. So firstly, how does your price compare to other alternatives that your customer has? So your competition. How do you price your product or service? So do you price based on kind of value delivered to your customer, or do you price it based on cost to deliver and then just put a bit of profit on top? We do have to look as to whether your pricing is profitable. So this will mean that you'll need to know your rough, kind of fixed and variable cost. It's going to be completely different for a business buying wholesale and then selling retail versus a business like mine, for example, that sells a service. So for me, I need to cost my delivery using time taken to deliver my services, my fixed costs, etc. But then I also need to price it based on value delivered. They're completely two different things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. But so many businesses just think about the cost of, exactly what it's going to cost them and then putting a bit of profit on top. But thinking about exactly what value you're going to deliver it's a totally different ballgame.
Yeah, because ultimately we're going to actually have to speak to that value when we put your marketing messages together. So then, of course, we look at place, which is distribution. How are your customers buying from you? Can they purchase your product online, via bricks and mortar? Can they do both? We look at this from a few different angles. One, how convenient is this place for the customer, and what's the experience they have with your business when they purchase from you in this way? So again, if a business's overarching objectives is to reduce costs, then we might actually look at distribution or place as an area where we might save money. So promotion is obviously the 4th P, and this is where we kind of look at your marketing tactics and put that marketing tactics that marketing tactical plan together, which I'll touch on probably later. The next section of the marketing plan is just setting some marketing goals. So again, if we're going to truly measure the success of your marketing, one of the biggest questions that I get asked is, how do I know if my marketing's working, or I've been doing marketing and it just doesn't seem to be working? Well, if you truly want to understand whether your marketing is working, you have to measure it. And what are we measuring it against if we haven't actually put goals in place to begin with? So your marketing goals plug into those business objectives. So if you're looking to increase new clients, we might be looking at setting goals around, well, we need to drive more traffic to the website. We might need to grow your social media communities, but we put SMART goals in place. How much more traffic do we need to drive to the website? How many more people do we need to get engaging with us on social media? How many more sales do we need to get, et cetera, et cetera. So we put all of your marketing goals in place. And that's pretty much the crux of it, Stace. That's the basic information. And that's probably all you really need to look at, with the exception of a few other things.
So what are those other things? Because all of that sounds like stuff that I know about my business. As a small business owner, exactly what you said. It's like it's like one of your children. You know all about it. You're completely invested in it. And all of those things that you've outlined, like I'm thinking, yeah, I could do that, and tick those off the list. What else? What other information do we need to review?
Well, look, when we go through a marketing planning process, and I suggest this for every business, you need to understand the key numbers of your business. At a very bare minimum, we need to look at like a basic revenue breakdown. How much are you turning over in a year? How much are you turning over in a month for revenue? Look at your existing profit levels, because again, if you're just breaking even on the products and the services that you're selling, something needs to change before you invest in marketing. There is absolutely no point paying for marketing that's going to drive more customers to a business model that is not making you profit. There is no point being in business if you don't make a profit. So look at your existing profit levels and understand, well, what would you like them to be? And don't be unrealistic. Have a look and see, okay, well, what are they now? What's the benchmark in my industry as to what they can be? Now, marketing alone won't drive profitability. It can certainly help increase profitability if we can lower the cost of acquisition per customer. So that means, like, if it doesn't cost us as much as a business to actually get new customers in, we're actually lowering the expenses of your business. The other thing it can do is if it's attracting the right type of customer to your business that values your business and becomes a raving fan and sends more people to your business for free because that's word of mouth, that's the word of mouth they're spreading, then that's going to help again, reduce the expense of your marketing. So your marketing can definitely help increase your profit, but it's more about driving your revenue. But again, if you don't actually know what that revenue is or what you want it to be, how are we going to measure whether your marketing investment is actually working or not? That's the ultimate test. The other number that you have to look at, and it's amazing how many businesses kind of don't have a whole number for this, but how much are you actually spending per year on your marketing? So sit down and actually, if you're not kind of keeping a line item of what falls into marketing expenses, sometimes, you can actually add up all the different print ads that you place and the radio ads and the Facebook ads, et cetera, and you're shocked as to how much marketing spend you're actually spending per year. For some businesses, it's zero, and for some businesses, they're like, oh right, I actually do spend a lot on marketing. But when you kind of look at that spend, you want to be able to go, okay, so what did that spend actually return? How much value did I get from that money that went out the door? Another bit of information is how are you currently driving customers to your business? So when I ask a lot of businesses that, they'll say word of mouth. which is absolutely true. Every industry has a really, really high percentage of word of mouth. But it would be good to kind of talk to other people within your businesses that might be taking that first call from your customers and asking them to start tracking and asking them to ask the customers that come in, how did you find out about us, so that you've actually got, real data around this. But they might have an idea, they might say, yeah, most people say that they, found us on Facebook, or they saw this post on Facebook, or, they'll say, oh, my grandma told me about you, or a friend told me about you. So go and ask other people within your business to see, well, how are customers actually finding us at the moment? Another thing to look at too is existing customer feedback, because as I mentioned before, sometimes we think we know what customers actually value about our business, and that's generally overlaid by what we want them to think about.
What we would like them to think about us, right?
Yeah.
What we hope they think about us.
Let's hope they think this.
Yeah.
Go back to them and ask them, what really do you value about the business? Sure, look at what you can improve as well, but that's more of an operational consideration. For marketing, we want to hear from them what they value in their language, because again, as a business owner, we'll use our own technical language about what we provide, but we actually want to use the customer's language, because then when we go out to do the marketing, we'll really tap into that to be able to go and find more customers just like that.
It's so true, isn't it? The language that we would use to describe what we deliver is so different to what our customers. I see that when I read, Google reviews and Facebook reviews.
Yeah.
Just the way that they talk about my business is not the way that I would word it, but still really valuable. So it's such an important thing to tap into as a business owner.
That's right, because that's what they are going to. They're not experts in our field, and that's the language that they're going to tap into, because that's the conversational language that people are having at barbecues. When people are talking about, well, what dance school do I go to? Well, this dance school has, and they're not going to be using all the technical dance terms. So why would you use too many technical dance terms? Because it would just, go well over their head at that stage when they're a new customer.
Yeah. So the marketing plan is, you've gone through all the steps that you've described, Jane, and you've got the marketing plan. It's complete. It's ready to go. What do you do with it then? Stick it in a drawer and that's it?
Plenty of people do. We don't. So once we've bundled up all of that information, we can plan out which marketing tactics that we're going to use to actually achieve your business objectives. So which marketing channels do we use to reach your ideal target audience? What messaging do we create that will resonate with those customers and move them along the journey from, firstly becoming aware of your business all the way down to actually purchasing from your business? So I actually call this planning out your marketing ecosystem, because in my experience, this is where marketing mostly replicates science. So I felt ecosystem was a really good word to describe it. So we need to have the right balance of elements that will, first of all, attract awareness. So there's got to be enough marketing activity in there that will make people aware of your business first and foremost. And then we actually need to ensure that there's enough marketing activity to get just the right amount of people to feed into the engagement activities. So how are they actually going to start engaging with your business? And then the right mixture of activity that will drive interest. So they're aware of your business. They've started engaging with your business, which might be, starting to check out your website or liking your Facebook page or whatever. And then they're kind of getting interested in your business. And so then we need to make sure that when they're interested, we've got the right marketing activity out there to actually convert them to the sale. So what I see a lot of is that a lot of businesses will have awareness activity out there in the market, and they'll spend, and that's where you will spend the most money, is making people aware of your business. But then they don't necessarily have the activity that's in there to really help that customer move from awareness to engaging with your business, to driving more interest in your business, and then ultimately buying from your business. So that's what we do when we plan out that marketing ecosystem. And of course, it's all plugged into the strategic marketing considerations. The other thing that we need to have in that marketing ecosystem as well is, okay, sure, they come and buy from your business, but we actually want them coming back to buy and repeat purchasing from your business. Not only that, we actually also want them to become raving fans and to go out proactively to go and tell all their friends and family just how fabulous you are. So those marketing activities will often be plotted out in your tactical planning or your ecosystem as well.
And every business needs raving fans, right? That's
the way
you're going to build that growth.
Yep.
So how often should we be revisiting this marketing plan? Is it something that we just do when we start the business and then we don't ever look at it again, or is it something that we go back to?
Yeah. So generally, when we set the first plan, we will set an overarching plan for 12 months. And this is generally because we've just started working with a business, or if this is the first time you've actually put a marketing plan together. It makes sense to kind of map out what a year looks like. So it incorporates all the seasons, your busy season, your quiet season, so that we can actually look at and plot that into a 12-month calendar. But then what we'll actually do is break that down into 90 days plans to actually put more details into that. So 3 months is long enough to get a plan into action and to be able to start gauging what's working and what's not. And it's short enough to be adaptive and prompt review and optimization. So it's really important to remember that your marketing plan is actually a living and breathing document. Too many things can change, as we've seen with COVID-19. Too many things can change for a plan to be stagnant. So market forces change, consumer habits change, a competitor can enter the market, new technology is being introduced at a rate of knots. So your marketing plan needs to be flexible enough to adapt swiftly to this. And one of the best things about being a small business is our ability to be agile and adapt. So it makes sense that your marketing is in a position to be able to help you to achieve that.
And what about the money, Jane? Like, will having a marketing plan help me to understand as a small business owner how much to spend on my marketing?
Emphatically, yes. Again, this is where it's important to understand how marketing can financially add value to your company. So if we know what your goals and your objectives are, we can assign marketing activity that is particularly likely to achieve those goals and objectives, and then we can assign a value to those investments. So if you know your financial situation, you'll know how much marketing you can afford to invest. And if you don't have the spare cash flow, but your marketing strategy is outlining just how much your marketing should generate as a return, then you will have more confidence to go and get that money to invest in your marketing. A lot of businesses will kind of make the mistake of saying, yep, okay, I can see how marketing will help, but actually I can't afford it. Well, then you're trapped in a chicken and an egg, situation. You're either going to use marketing to grow your business, or you're not going to grow your business. You're just going to stay stagnant where you are. But you need to understand, how much am I going to spend and how much is that likely to drive a return? And without doing a marketing plan, you're just not going to know that.
Yeah. Will having the marketing plan get me a better return on my marketing investment?
Absolutely. Again, a marketing plan will help you identify how you can invest your marketing budget in the right channels with the right messaging. So a plan will help you to be efficient with your spend and effective with your output. We don't want to waste valuable marketing dollars saying the wrong things to the wrong people. And a plan will make sure that you don't do that.
Yeah. So many businesses, though, Jane, are kind of, they're up and running and they're moving. Perhaps they've been established for a couple of years. They're getting a heap of really good word of mouth. And so they might think, it's not broke, don't fix it. I'm totally fine. I don't need a marketing plan. I don't want to spend any more money. People are talking about me at the barbecue already. How important is it for these people to have a switch in mindset in order to make sure that they're really capitalizing on their business and getting the most out of it?
Yeah, and that's a really good point. I think when I ask a lot of businesses about, what are they doing to date or what do they do for marketing, a lot of businesses will say, well, I don't need marketing because I've got, word of mouth. I've got plenty of referrals coming in, which is great, which is awesome. It means they're actually providing a really good product or service. So in my experience, word of mouth is effective up to a certain point. So you can grow your business to a certain point using word of mouth and, providing a really good product and service. And look, if your product is exceptional and unique and incredible, if it's like a true purple cow, as Seth Godin describes it, then maybe that is all that you need. But to be honest, Stace, in my experience, most small businesses do not have a purple cow. And if you don't have a purple cow, you are going to need marketing to grow beyond a certain point.
Yeah. And it's about being brave to take that next step and not just doing what you've always done and then getting the same result that you've always got, right?
That's right. Absolutely.
So, there's so much great content there, Jane, of things that I need to get myself sorted with. Is there anything else that I have to think about when it comes to this, this entire marketing plan?
Yeah, absolutely. The next step is just to think about how you're going to measure. So,
your favorite part.
Oh my goodness, absolutely. I drive my clients insane with my obsession in measurement. So if you have spent the time putting those marketing goals and objectives in place, we need to work out how you're going to measure if you're achieving those goals. So my suggestion is to reference your marketing goals and keep a note of how you are tracking to achieve those on a monthly basis. So there's a stack of measurement, metrics that you can record and keep an eye on. For example, if your goals include revenue or number of new customers or an increase in spend from existing customers, more traffic to your website, more people in your Facebook community, well, then it's obvious that they're the numbers that you can keep track of every month and measure your progress. So it's important to measure progress as well because, this stuff doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't. I've never seen it happen overnight. And month by month, you'll actually start to notice the incremental difference. And then there'll be a tipping point, at 6 months or 12 months, everything that you're doing. And because you've been persistent and consistent, it will kick in. And all of a sudden you'll go, whoa, okay, here's that return.
Yeah, but you won't know unless you're tracking it, right? So it's
That's
important
right.
to know those numbers, to know where you're going and to make sure that you're holding the business accountable along the way.
100%. And it also allows you to optimize. So, if you're not seeing that progress, if you're not seeing that building, then you might need to look at, how you're, the tactics that you've chosen, or maybe you need to increase the frequency of some of those tactics, or slightly change a channel, or slightly change a message or something. So, as I said before, it's a living and breathing document, and it's always open to optimization. But, as you and I know, Stace, we love our continuous improvement. So everything's always open for optimization, but it includes your marketing as well.
I have found the biggest difference in sharing those numbers with my staff.
Yes.
Because I didn't track things before Jane. I didn't track any of those numbers. And I would, get to the end of the year and go, oh, well, and, look at it once a year and go, that's not what I thought it would be. But then I started tracking the numbers and I got so into it that I then started sharing it with the staff, and then they got invested as well. And
Awesome.
So the more that you look at it and the more it becomes part of what you do every day, the more you're going to see a return. And I love that.
100%. Couldn't agree more.
Thanks, Jane. This has been awesome. And I'm so excited that you've finally, leapt into your own podcasting world.
So am I.
The How to Do Marketing show with Jane Hillsdon has been such a long time coming, and I'm so excited that it's finally here. Good for you, Jane.
Thank you, Stacey. I'm excited as well. I hope people find it valuable. Thanks so much for listening to the first episode of How to Do Marketing featuring me. If you enjoyed this episode, please listen to some more. There's so much more goodness to come. Also, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss upcoming episodes. And because this podcast is brand spanking new, your ratings and reviews are really important. So please drop me one of those if you can. Until next time, happy marketing.
You've been listening to another Morgan Media production.